It's always a good afternoon and great company. Montreal Now with Aaron Rand on CJAD 800.
Hey, yo, big wave. Tell them I come. Small time alongside JW.
My bestie and your bestie sit down by the fire. Your bestie says she want parties, so can we make these flames go higher? Talking about hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now.
Aiko ane, Chakamofina anane, Chakamofina ane.
Start my truck.
Let's all jump in. Here we go together. Nice cool breeze and big palm trees that tell you life don't get no better. Talking about hey now,
hey now,
hey now,
hey now.
Aiko ane, Chakamofina anane, Chakamofina ane.
Wow, I didn't know you were such a good singer.
I had no idea you were such a good backup singer, background singer.
I had you with the hey now.
Wonderful.
The hey now is the only part that I remember.
You have that part down pat.
I know, solid.
Welcome.
Rhythm.
It's Friday afternoon. Start things off a little differently today. Yes, that's our Friday theme song, but accompanying me today is NDP Leader Jagmeet Singh, who's in studio. First of all, thank you for being here. It's good to see you.
Pleasure to be here.
It's been a busy day for you. It's been a busy week for you. We've spent a lot of time talking about it. So I know we only have you for about 10 or so minutes. I know you have other stuff to do, and then you're leaving town. So let's jump right into it.
Sure.
You were in Émard today in that riding, Émard-LaSalle-Verdun. Craig Sauvé is your candidate there.
That's right.
From everything I've heard, it seems like right now, there's still about 10 days to go, roughly. It seems to be a three-way race.
Yeah, it's a real race. We're in it.
And look, and we were just talking off air, and I said, I know Craig Sauvé. As it turns out, Craig officiated my wedding, so right here in the studio. He's a guy who's been around this city and that, part of the city for a long, long time. He's got tremendous face recognition, if you will. So that's a bonus for you. And I'm wondering, I know it's a federal by-election, but you have someone who's been in the community for many, many years, city councilor, et cetera. I think that's worth points. Do you think this is, what ultimately happens here, is this a vote for the candidate or is this a vote for the party?
Oh, it's a combination. But the thing about Craig is, when I said that in the clip that you played, it's so true. Like we come across people that have seen his help, like have benefited from his help in the community. He's someone who's very grassroots. Like he works hard for his community. We were just at the doorstep earlier today, and one of the complaints was the previous MP wasn't really accessible. And the person themselves said, "I know that you are, though. I know you're going to be there. I know that I can reach out to you and you'll be there to help." And he's like, Craig said, "Yeah, I believe in that. I want to be someone that's there to serve the community. It's important to me." And I think that goes a long way. We also, as a party, are a real option for folks. They see us fighting for people, whether it's bringing down the price of groceries or bringing down the cost of rent. People see us as a real choice. Okay. And they feel abandoned, I think, by Justin Trudeau right now.
I don't want to spend too much time talking about the by-election. As I said, we're still 10 days away. Things can change. Let's talk about the story that really has been focusing this week on you and your announcement about ripping up. There's a drinking game, by the way. You know this, right? Every time you say the word tear up, you're supposed to take a shot. So look, there are a lot of questions around this. Sure. There has been, I'm not sure if there's been a lot of positive reaction. I know there's been a bunch of negative reaction. So I want you to address this first of all. Sure. My simple question to you is going to be, why now? Why did you make this decision now? You've been, through the supply and confidence agreement, you've been basically, as they say, propping up the government for a couple of years. What changed between 2 weeks ago and this week to make you say, you know what, we can't do this anymore. We don't want to do this anymore.
Well, to take you behind the scenes a bit, I mean, this is something we've been thinking about for a while. We knew from the beginning when we got into this agreement, there would be an end to it. There would be a natural end to it. And what was the turning point was it was a compiling a bunch of things that happened. We got a lot of things done. The dental care program's out the door. There's a portal up. It works. People are getting the care. Millions of seniors have now signed up for it. And there's hundreds of thousands of people that have accessed it. So the program's working. That's something we fought for. We forced the government to do it. And then secondly, we realized what was happening again and again is when we were pushing for things to make people's lives better when it comes to grocery prices and housing, Justin Trudeau and the Liberals kept on saying no. And so it got to the point that we realized that to move forward, the Liberals and Justin Trudeau were too beholden to corporate interests to actually take on the challenges, like the high cost of groceries driven up by grocery corporations making record profits.
Did this suddenly dawn on you? I mean, that's what people are saying. You've known this for a while. The Liberals haven't changed their stripe really very much in the couple of years. So again, why now? What happened? Was there one motivating factor that you said, you know what, we need to do this now?
It was a combination. I would say it was a combination of we got things done and the things were completed. And a lot of those things were completed this summer. Like the final portal to make the dental care program work was up and running in July. So things happened recently that completed that big push. And then it was a number of votes just at the end of session where I had pushed to put in a price cap on food essentials, and the Liberals and Conservatives voted no to that. We were pushing for better steps around corporate landlords that take federal support and then turn around and rent-evict their tenants. We said, well, they shouldn't be getting federal money then if they're going to do this. There was no movement on that. So it became clear after those pushes that we made near the end of session that the Liberals were just unwilling to take the steps necessary. We got our work done, and we said this is
so
time
that
to move
push
on.
came to shove as far as you're concerned, and the shove is we're ending our agreement.
That's right.
Okay. I want you to hear Tom LaCaire, former leader of the NDP, who's a regular contributor here on CJAD, was asked about this yesterday. I want you to hear what he had to say. So here's Tom LaCaire talking about the decision.
He's overplayed his hand. He used terminology against Trudeau that was really quite hot. He's been in the sack with the Libs for 2.5 years. He's trying to show that he's his own person, that his party can move away from the deal with the Liberals, and nobody will notice that they were supporting them for 2.5 years. But it doesn't work that way. It came out of the blue.
It came out of the blue. You're saying it didn't come out of the blue. You highlighted some of the reasons you thought had added up. Mm-hmm. I guess my question now is, if you point out the fact that the Liberals, I was a little confused, by the way, hearing your press conference the other day. I wasn't sure if you were talking about the Liberals or the Conservatives as far as having big business in their pocket, corporate greed. You could say that about the Conservatives as well, could you not?
That's true. That's true. They both have similarly done that. I would say we were able to get things done with the Liberals. We were able to force Justin Trudeau to do things that he would never have done otherwise. And then it came down to the things that we really wanted movement on the two things that we hear from people at the doorsteps. I hear grocery prices and I hear housing costs. And on those two fundamental things, we had put forward a number of ideas right up until the end of session. And there was just a no after no. No to the price cap. No to holding corporate landlords that get federal money to account. And then we said, well, it's clear they're choosing those big corporations over people. And Pierre Poilievre is a serious threat. And I think that the Liberals and Justin Trudeau are too weak to take on the threat of the Conservatives and the cuts that Pierre Poilievre wants to bring in. And we're in a position to fight back.
I'm curious, when you talk about grocery prices, and yes, certainly that's a doorbell issue. People want to find out why they're paying more and continue to pay more. What would you have done? I mean, we had the heads of Canada's major grocery chains meet with the government. I'm not sure what changed. Maybe there's been a small change. What would the NDP have done to actually affect the policy? How would it work?
Well, we proposed two concrete things that the Liberals rejected. One was the price cap idea. This is something that France has done. And so it's imposing a price cap on food essentials. So you think about bread and you think about things like baby formula. Food essentials that, we're not talking about caviar and escargot. We're talking about things that people need every day. And that these corporate grocery stores that are posting not just good profits, not just massive profits, they're posting record profits. To say you're making record profits at a time of record need where people are going to the food bank at record levels, we're asking you to lower the price of these food essentials. And if you don't, we're going to impose a price cap. This is something that economists have said is an idea that we should be looking at more and more. And this is something that we pushed for. The Liberals said no. And that's a concrete thing.
The grocery store's answer to this is if it wasn't for everything else that we sold in the store besides food, we wouldn't be making money.
Well, we counter that and say, well, we know that corporate grocery stores and large bread manufacturers colluded to jack up the price of bread. And this is an example of how the rules are stacked against people. They made $5 billion collectively. The biggest penalty awarded based on the rules that we have was $50 million to Canada Bread Company. That is not even a slap on the wrist. And so that's what I mean about how do we change the system so that these companies don't get away with ripping people off and say, well, that's a cost of doing business. $50 million fine, I'll pay that again if I'm going to collectively make $5 billion. And so that's why we're saying we've got to change the rules so they can't get away with doing that.
So part two, what I want to get to now is people have heard you point out the problem with the Liberals. You call them too weak, too selfish, etc. We know the issue you have with Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives. So people say, okay, that being the case, you walk away from this agreement. They would then expect, and I'm going to use the term that I use, which is to have the courage of your conviction. When a vote of non-confidence comes up in the House, why not simply say, yes, we will vote to bring this government down? You're saying everything else around it. Why not say that?
Right now, our focus is on what's been the biggest topic over the past 2.5 years. Folks always want to know when we're leaving this agreement. We've torn up the agreement. That's step one. We know that doing that means an election is more likely than it was in the past. When votes come before us,
why does that automatically mean that an election is more imminent if you're not going to vote against whatever comes up as a way to bring the government down?
Well, before, because of the agreement, it meant that for confidence votes, if we got things done for people, we weren't going to move forward on a confidence vote. Now, that's all bets are off. So every vote we get, we're going to take it and look, is it in the best interest of Canadians or not? We're not going to prejudge an outcome before we see a motion, before we see a vote. But we do know this sets up the next election. The next election, people are frustrated with the Liberals, so it's going to be about change. Well, what's the change? Conservatives want to cut with Pierre Poilievre, cut the things that you need, cut your pensions, cut your health care, or New Democrats who want to build up our country, build up our healthcare system.
I would ask you, and I understand what you're saying about it, it would depend on the issue whether we decide to go ahead and vote with the Conservatives. What would that issue hypothetically be? What would it take for you to say, you know what, yeah, we agree with them, this is no good, and let's go ahead and have an election? What issue would that be?
Well, I'm not going to
issues.
Yeah, I'm not going to answer a hypothetical on that. I'm going to look at each vote as it comes and make a decision on it. But I can tell you that this does set up an election between the conservative vision of Canada, where they want to tear down things like our pension, our healthcare. They want to let their corporate buddies rip us off. Or New Democrats want to build up our country.
Some people are describing this move by you. First of all, what struck me as odd, Pierre Poilievre, 2 days before you make the announcement, comes out, he does the old sellout sing line and urges you to go ahead and cut this agreement. And we're all trying to understand what the timeline was. Did the Conservatives know this was coming? Was Pierre Poilievre's announcement what spurred you to actually do it? How did this all work? What was the timeline?
Well, we can confirm that the video was shot at least 2 weeks before. I mean, so we had nothing. We would never take advice from someone who wants to destroy our healthcare system, who wants to destroy pensions, someone who wants to let his corporate buddies rip people off. Like, we would never take advice from him, obviously.
Okay. So it had nothing to do with... Did the Liberals know? When do you think the Prime Minister knew about this?
Just before. We sent information to him, a letter to him, basically just minutes before, or 30 minutes before we made it public. Okay.
Last question. Some have said this idea of this walking away, this tearing up of the agreement is really a Hail Mary. NDP, last poll, national poll, shows your support went from 20% roughly down to 15%. You have to do something. You have to acknowledge that obviously support is beginning to fall. What do? You rip up the agreement, make a big production about this. And then I want to read you a post. This was written by a French journalist who wrote, "What on earth was going through Jagmeet Singh's head to sabotage the alliance with the Liberals? With his support in free fall, his party risked a veritable electoral massacre if elections were called now. It is simply suicidal." Is it?
No, not at all. We're going to keep on fighting for Canadians. And really, the next election is an election about choice. People are done with Justin Trudeau. It's become very clear that they're done with the Liberals and they want change. We are going to make the case that we are the change for people. If you want someone that's going to tear down your healthcare system, that's Pierre Poilievre. If you want someone that's going to let his corporate buddies rip you off, that's Pierre Poilievre.
So it was not a Hail Mary.
Lower the price of people, we got your back.
Not a Hail Mary. This is not your last gasp and hope that it works.
No, not at all. We're going strong. We're fighting hard.
Last question. 2 by-elections coming up. One here, one in Manitoba. One which you have held in the past. Another one here that the Liberals have had forever. A lot is made of the fact that if the Liberals lose, the one here, that's maybe curtains for Justin Trudeau. That would be St. Paul's and now here. But if the NDP lose in Manitoba, where you've held that seat previously, and if you lose in LaSalle-Émard-Verdun, is Jagmeet Singh done as leader of the NDP? Is it time to call it a day?
I can tell you I'll be running as a leader for the next election. I'm running as Prime Minister for this country, and we're going to fight hard. In these 2 by-elections, people will have a choice. I've said again and again, the Liberals have abandoned you. Justin Trudeau has abandoned you. New Democrats have your back. You can choose us in this election.
I want to thank you for coming in. I know you have to run. I do appreciate it. Thanks you so much. Best of luck.
A pleasure. Thank you.